roads, streets, and the mess in between. Hey everybody, welcome back, and it's just me again, the one guy with a microphone and a habit of noticing extremely weird things about the world. Like why half of our roads look confused about what they're supposed to be. Episode 12. Today we're talking about something that'll change the way you look at Washington forever. Like, once I explain this, you're going to walk outside and instantly start spotting the problems that have been hiding in plain sight this entire time. We're talking about roads, we're talking about streets, and we're talking about Stroads, which are basically the Frankenstein monsters of transportation planning. We're talking about walkability, zoning, neighborhoods, crime, addiction, and the way we've built our environment shapes behavior more than the people realize. This episode, this is a big one. Let's start with the mind-blowing part. Most of Washington isn't built with a purpose. It's built with guessing. See, a road is supposed to move you from point A to point B efficiently and safely. A street is supposed to be a slow, intimate, connected, community-based, the kind of place where kids can ride bikes and neighbors can talk over fences. But then we invented the Stroad. The road-street hybrid that is somehow bad at both things. Fast enough to be dangerous, slow enough to be frustrating, and confusing enough to cause crashes, crime pockets, and dead zones in cities. These are the 5-lane, 35-mile-per-hour strip mall corridors where nothing feels safe, everything feels chaotic, and businesses struggle unless they're giant national brands with giant parking lots. And Stroads exist everywhere. In Seattle, Linwood, Everett, Renton, Marysville, Spokane, because America decided decades ago that cars were the center of the universe. Not safety, not community, not design, not accessibility, just cars. And if the only tool you have is a hammer, everything starts looking like a nail. So we built everything like it was a highway even when we desperately needed a neighborhood street. Here's the wild part. Other countries figured this out decades ago. Let's look at the Dutch for a minute. Not because they're magical, but because they made one simple decision. We want people to feel comfortable being outside. Their roads, designed for movement. Their streets, designed for people. Their neighborhoods are designed for being around community and not cars. And guess what? Crime rates are lower, addiction visibly is lower, social problems are easier to address, more people walk more, talk more, they shop locally more and drive less. They designed the world around them intentionally. We kind of just kept building until we ran out of space. And before we get into grids, cul-de-sacs, and why half our neighborhoods look like a toddler scribbled them with crayon, we need to talk about how we got here in the first place. Because here's the truth, Washington didn't build itself this way on purpose. America didn't either. We did this because we panicked. After World War II, millions of soldiers came home, factories were shutting down, the war machine was grinding to a halt, and the US government had one giant terrifying question. How do we keep Americans employed? Now that the war isn't ordering tanks, planes, and ships every hour of the day. And someone, I don't know who, probably in the smoke-filled room with 12 cups of coffee said, cars! And that was it. That was the moment the entire country changed trajectory. Suddenly, the American economy became built around cars, gasoline, asphalt, subdivisions, freeways, home appliances, giant parking lots, and stores you need a car to reach. It wasn't about urban planning, it wasn't about community, it wasn't about safety, it was about jobs, and getting jobs fast. It was about converting wartime factories into peacetime production. You can't sell a tank to a suburban family, but you can sell them a Buick, a lawnmower, a fridge, and a new house 12 miles outside of the city core. It worked. Construction boomed, auto manufacturing boomed, oil boomed, suburban developers boomed, everything and everyone was getting paid. But in the process, we built an entire country, including Washington, around a system that prioritized cars over people. We bulldozed walkable neighborhoods and built highways. We made zoning laws that separated everything so far apart you literally had to drive. We stuffed businesses along high-speed corridors because that sold more concrete. We created a model where distance itself became profitable. This is why so many American towns feel disconnected, unsafe, empty, or just off. We didn't design places for human beings. We designed them for traffic flow and economic output. And once you build a region around that model, it's incredibly hard to unwind. The roads get wider, the sidewalks disappear, the parking lots get bigger, the distances increase, and slowly but surely we lose the special glue that makes communities feel like communities. So when you're driving through Washington wondering, why does this road feel like it belongs nowhere? Or why is every store wrapped in a moat of parking? Or why does everything feel far apart even though it's technically close together? It's because our built environment wasn't shaped by people with clipboards and good design principles. It was shaped by industrial momentum, which brings us perfectly to what happened next. Let's talk about the grids versus squiggly suburbs. Grid-based neighborhoods, the kind we built a century ago, are efficient, walkable, reusable, and scalable. Squares, blocks, straight lines, these create internal cohesion, easier traffic flows, walkable neighborhoods, safer streets, slower driving, more eyes on the street, and more local businesses, lower crime. Now we look at a modern suburb. Squiggly cul-de-sacs, looping roads, confusing layouts, single-use zoning. You need a car to buy milk, you need a car to go to school, you need a car for everything. These are not communities. They're glorified parking lots with houses sprinkled in. And here's the part nobody talks about. These environments encourage isolation. Isolation encourages boredom. Boredom encourages trouble, and trouble encourages crime. Crime encourages more policing and more frustration, and that feeds back into the feeling that society doesn't feel so safe anymore. Environment shapes behavior, and Washington's environment is a patchwork quilt of good ideas duct taped to bad planning. Let's talk about Woodinville, because they actually did something right. Downtown Woodinville is building mixed-use zoning. Commercial on the bottom, 5 stories of residential on the top in most stereotypical circumstances. Shops, food, housing, walkability, streetscape, lighting, people living where people gather. This is what healthy communities should look like. Not giant empty parking lots, not derelict Stroads, not endless traffic. A real town center, a place that feels alive. It's a big step, and it's definitely in the right direction. So where do crime and addiction fit in? Well, that's right in the middle. Crime doesn't explode randomly. It concentrates in places that are poorly designed, poorly lit, poorly walked, poorly connected, poorly surveilled, poorly cared for. Addiction hides in abandoned corners of communities. It thrives where nobody walks. It festers where the environment sends the message no one sees you, nobody cares, no one is here. And a well-designed city brings people together, and people create natural guardianship over their environment together. A badly designed city isolates people, and isolation creates shadows where problems grow. So how do we fix this? How do we rebuild Washington's communities with intention instead of chaos? Here's what actually works, the blueprint, if you will. We prioritize roads for movement, not business fronts. If it's meant to move traffic, build it like a road, not a shopping district. We prioritize streets for people, slow speeds, sidewalks, trees, lighting, outdoor seating, actual life. We eliminate Stroads over time, not overnight, but phase them into one category or the other. We encourage mixed-use zoning statewide. Let people live where they work and shop. Let businesses thrive in walkable pockets. We rebuild town centers. Downtown should feel like hearts, not arteries clogged with traffic. We bring grid logic back. Good design shouldn't be nostalgic. It should be normal. We design with safety baked in and not bolted on. A well-designed street reduces crime without adding a single police cruiser. We rebuild transit with dignity. Clean, safe, monitored, reliable, not the last resort, a viable choice. This isn't politics. This is geometry with compassion. Because at the end of the day, healthy communities don't happen by accident. They're designed, and Washington can design better. The places we live shape the people we become. If we want hope to grow, if we want safer towns, healthier families, and stronger communities, we have to stop guessing and start building with intention. Hope isn't gone, it's just waiting in the blueprints. If you've noticed something weird about your town's layout, a dangerous crosswalk, a dead stroad nobody uses, a spot where crime always happens, drop it in the comments, send it my way. If it's something real that affects real people, it might become its own episode. We're not just talking here. We're blueprinting Washington's future together.